Making money while you sleep. I mean, that's the ultimate dream, right? The promise of passive income. But how do you actually do it if you don't have a ton of cash to invest? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down a real-world experiment that put 6 super popular online business ideas to the test to find out what's a real gold mine and what's just a total scam.
So let's get real for a second. Can you actually make a decent living from passive income online? The internet is absolutely flooded with gurus and opinions, but we're going to cut through all that noise and look at what actually happened when one creator put these ideas to the test with his own money.
So let's dive right in. We're going to follow his entire process. We'll track the profits and, yep, the losses, and we'll finally separate the hype from what's actually real. Here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the red flags, the ideas that completely flopped. Then we'll get to the good stuff, the gold mines that actually turned a profit. We'll wrap up with a final scorecard and the most important lessons from the whole thing. Let's get into it. Okay, first up, the red flags. These are the 3 business ideas that, despite all the online hype, ended up being a complete and total waste of time and money in this experiment.
First on the chopping block, data entry. It's often sold as like the easiest way to start making money online. Some people even claim you can match an MBA salary doing it. Sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it?
So the creator went all in. He set up a super professional-looking profile on Fiverr. But after a week, crickets, 0 orders. So he started doing cold outreach. Businesses and banks all said no, but he finally landed one project from a YouTuber who needed help figuring out why his channel was tanking. And here is the absolute key. The client literally told him that the data entry part, by itself, was worthless. What he actually needed was the strategy and the analysis of that data, the insights. Just typing numbers into a spreadsheet, that isn't a valuable skill on its own.
So for pure data entry, the final rating was a pretty dismal 1 out of 10. The lesson here is pretty clear. A low-value commodity skill by itself just doesn't pay the bills.
All right, next up is an idea that really sounds like the perfect passive income dream. Creating and selling kids' ebooks. I mean, think about it. No shipping, no inventory. You just create it once and then sell it forever. What could possibly go wrong?
And the process seemed totally foolproof. He did his research and saw that educational content about Hinduism for kids was trending. So, brilliant idea. Combine that with the coloring book trend. He used AI to generate 20 sketches, packaged them up into a nice PDF, and started running Facebook ads. And the result after spending his own money on those ads? Well, he got a lot of clicks, but 0 orders. Not a single person bought it. The creator said it just felt scammy, and he pulled the plug.
Yeah, this one was an easy 0 out of 10. His final advice? Just don't waste your money. It really seems like some of these purely passive ideas are, well, just too good to be true.
The third and final red flag is AI dropshipping. Now, the big promise here is that AI does all the heavy lifting for you. It finds the products, builds the website, and even writes the ads. All you have to do is manage the orders. Now, what's so interesting here is that it actually showed some signs of life. The AI found products that brought in 2,400 rupees from 2 orders. But then, look at that last bar, a 0% delivery rate. Nothing ever actually made it to the customer. Total failure. So yeah, it did technically perform better than the ebooks, but it was still a net loss and a complete logistical nightmare. The final rating for this one, a 3 out of 10.
Okay, enough of the doom and gloom. Let's move on to the good stuff, the successes. We're now going to look at the 3 ideas that turned out to be actual gold mines. The ones that made a real profit.
First up in the win column is print on demand. This is a classic, you've probably heard of it, starting your own t-shirt brand. You create cool designs, you run the ads, and then a third-party company prints and ships everything for you as the orders come in.
So, the creator found a really cool niche, t-shirts for dads and daughters, and launched an ad campaign. Day 1 was a total bust, nothing. But then, things really started to take off. By day 6, he was getting 10 orders a day. The results were, in his exact words, amazing.
Now, assuming the delivery and return rates are manageable, and that can be a big if in this business, this model proved to be super effective. It earned a really strong 8 out of 10.
Our next gold mine is maybe one of the most controversial ideas out there, affiliate marketing. The concept is actually really simple. You promote somebody else's product, and if a person buys it through your special link, you get a commission.
For this test, he promoted a web hosting service using YouTube ads. And wow, the numbers here are really impressive. An ad spend of about 4,500 rupees generated over 17,000 in commissions. That's a net profit of around 13,000 rupees in just 1 week.
This quote really just says it all. Even the creator was skeptical, given the kind of shady reputation of affiliate marketing. But hey, the numbers don't lie. When you do it right, it can be incredibly profitable. He gave it a 7 out of 10, mainly because the ad costs can get pretty high. And finally, we've arrived at the most profitable, the highest rated idea of the entire experiment: selling your own expertise by creating a course or a coaching service. And his strategy here was just genius, a total masterclass. Instead of building a whole course up front, he first tested the demand. He just offered a one-on-one coaching call in his area of expertise. And with zero promotion, he booked 4 calls in the first month. That proved there was real, organic demand for what he knew. This model earned the highest score of all, a 9 out of 10. Think about it. The time investment is low, the profit margins are huge, and once you turn it into a pre-recorded course, the scalability is basically infinite. It becomes truly passive income. So, after all that testing, what's the final verdict? Let's pull it all together and look at the ultimate profit scorecard, comparing every single one of these ideas side by side. And here it is. This is the slide that really matters. On one side, you have the clear gold mines. Selling courses, print on demand, and affiliate marketing all made money. And on the other side, the red flags. AI dropshipping and ebooks were net losses, and data entry made absolutely nothing. The contrast couldn't be more crystal clear. So what's the fundamental difference here? What really separates a profitable online business from one that's just, doomed to fail? Well, this experiment revealed some very, very clear patterns.
It really boils down to this. The successful ideas all leveraged a real core skill. They solved an actual problem for someone, and they had a clear value proposition. The failures? They mostly relied on gimmicks, sold low-value stuff, and promised this pure passivity with no real skill involved. So, I'll leave you with this one final question to think about. The next time you see a big, flashy, passive income idea online, just ask yourself this: does it solve a real problem, or is it just a low-value gimmick that's selling a fleeting trend? Because as this experiment clearly shows, that answer makes all the difference.